In this video, I want to talk about the grieving process and share my experiences of going through it and what I've learned. That's coming up. Hey everyone, it's Corey and welcome to my channel. It's all about motivating and inspiring people to choose life through my own experiences, positive and negative. And if you're a new viewer, can you please consider subscribing? Let's get into it. So folks, today I want to talk about the grieving process and I want to share my experiences, my knowledge that I've learned. And I just want to make this very, very clear. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a professional at all in this area. I just want to share my experiences and knowledge that I've learned as a human being that's been through a lot. And if you know my story, I've lost a lot of people in my life. I've experienced a lot of death. I've experienced a lot of, grieving, the grieving process, by breaking my neck, surfing, ending up in a wheelchair, and being a quadriplegic and going through the grieving process of not being able to walk again and my whole world being turned upside down. And then obviously, other areas too. So like I said, I just want to share my experience and knowledge. And the reason being, folks, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. Other people have been through this. Unfortunately, the grieving process, and I mean this sincerely, unfortunately, the grieving process is normal. I wish we didn't have to go through this, but we do. It's just that kind of planet. Unfortunately, we're all going to experience loss in one way, shape, or form at least a couple of times in our life. And I just don't want you to feel alone. I want to let you know you're not going crazy, folks. You're not going crazy. If you're anything like me, going through a lot of grief, there's so many emotions, so many feelings. You might feel like you're going crazy and you're not. It's a process and there's stages of grief that you might go through. And I'll explain that, for the reason that you'll be aware of it. You might be able to process your emotions better if you're going through it. And you might be able to help someone else. By knowing this information, by being aware of this information, you might know someone, you will. Let's be honest, you will know someone that is going to go through the grieving process numerous times in their life, and you might be able to help them and make them feel a bit better. But like I said, if you're going through this, please get professional help. I'm not a professional, but let's get into it. Let me share my experiences, something like that. So the grieving process, folks, is complicated. It's scary. It's a roller coaster. It's all over the place. It's ugly. It can get ugly. It's not easy at all. And it's very different for everyone. Everyone's going to experience the grieving process in different situations, totally different. That's why it's a process. I think that's why they call it a process, because there's no exact step exact thing that you're going to go through. It's a process. Like I said, it's different for everyone. It's a different journey. For some people, it might be a short period of time. Others, it might be a long period of time. There's no time limit on it. It's just the way that it is. So let's talk about it some more. So I hope this helps you understand the process, to help you manage your emotions, manage your feelings, identify your feelings, and hopefully make you feel a little bit better. Okay, I sincerely mean that. So I've heard there's, some people say there's, 5 stages of the grieving process. Some say 7, some say 12. I'm a simple man. I'm just being honest. I like to keep things simple. So I'll go with the 5 because that's what I've experienced in my life as well. So if anyone's experienced anything different, please comment below. If you feel, feel free to share your experiences, share your emotions, share your feelings. And, I'd appreciate it if you do. It's very brave because you might help someone else. And that's what this channel is all about. So, right. So let's get into it. So the first stage of the grieving process is denial. And we usually feel this when, something first happens, right? So, a loved one might pass away unexpectedly, and it's just no. And for me, what I know, it's just a coping mechanism because it's such a shock and the emotions, and yeah, it's just a heavy situations. And to kind of get through that first bit, we kind of, deny that it's happening. Even with losing a job or a relationship ending, you might do the exact same thing. So that's number one. Number two is anger. So a lot of people might feel a lot of anger. From what I've experienced, what I've learned is that some people feel the anger because it's a natural emotion, right? It's a natural emotion. There's nothing wrong with feeling angry. It's just where you direct it. You just don't want to direct your anger onto other people and hurt other people. But you might feel anger towards yourself, towards other people. If a loved one passed away, you might feel anger towards the doctor. You might feel anger towards the person that walked away from you. In a relationship, it could be a romantic relationship. That person might have walked away. They might have ended the relationship. It could be a friend. You might have lost your best friend, as in they don't want to be friends with you anymore. You might feel anger towards them. You might feel anger towards what you've said, done. Like I said, it's complicated, folks. I'm just skimming across the surface. And the more I even think about it as I'm talking, I'm like, wow, we could go down a massive rabbit hole with all this stuff. And I'm not going to, because I'm not qualified to do that. I'm just going to skim across the top and just give you the bare bit of knowledge that I know from my experience. So the third stage is the bargaining stage. And I've been through this big time. So, this could be, let's just say, your friend or family member got diagnosed with a terminal illness. And usually in the bargaining stage, you're praying to a higher power, or just bargaining with someone like, please don't take him. I'll do anything. I'll do this, if you let this person live, or, please don't fire me. I'll do this. It's just the bargaining stage. So number 4 is depression, and I don't really have to talk about that too much. We all pretty know what depression is, and it's understandable. Losing a loved one, a loved one passing away, losing your job, a relationship ending. Anything like that. You can experience depression. And number 5 is acceptance. And from my experience, folks, this is just my opinion, my unprofessional opinion, but it's my opinion based on experience. So with losing a loved one, losing a job, and even being in a wheelchair, I don't believe I totally accepted it. I don't believe you can accept it. I just believe that you can learn to live with it. And I believe that you get to the acceptance stage because all the craziness of the emotions settle down. All the, everything just kind of settles down. All your emotions, your feelings, they settle down and you reach a place where you can live with it. I don't believe you totally accept it. I don't accept that I'm in a wheelchair. I don't accept that, I went from being a physically able young man at the age of 20 to being a quadriplegic, being in a wheelchair. I don't think I'll ever accept it, but I live with it. I learn to live with it, every single day, and I just do my best, and that's just my honest opinion. You just reach a place where you're kind of okay with what's happened and you can function and you just keep living your life. So that's the stages, that I've experienced myself. And so if you've experienced anything, comment below, please share your experiences. It might help someone else. So what I'd like to do now is just share some grieving processes that I went through. And I only went through one recently with my grandfather passing away. He was my hero. I love my grandfather. Very smart man, amazing man, achieved a lot, lived to the age of 94, very famous around the world in the aviation industry. A lot of people respected him. Very famous, I'll put it that way. His name's Harry Schneider. If you want to Google him, there's pages about him. in the aviation industry. He built planes, gliders, and everything like that. But anyway, I'm getting off track, right? So, yeah, he passed away in 2019, and man, it hit me hard. I was away on holiday at the time. I knew that he was, a bit sick, in and out of hospital. But yeah, when he passed away, it was still a shock, even though I knew he was sick, in and out of hospital. And while I was on holiday, I went through the denial part. It's not happening. It didn't happen. I think I did it so I could cope and try and enjoy, my holiday as much as possible. But what the part that I'd really like to share is obviously, it was hard anyway. So I'd cry a lot. Like I'd really cry a lot. And it was really hard. I missed him so much. I still miss him, don't get me wrong. But I remember one day being at work and, it was 1 o'clock in the day. I'm at work and I just started bawling my eyes out in front of people. And I was missing my grandfather and I was thinking about him. I was bawling my eyes out and I was crying for about 30 minutes. And, this had been going on, for a long time and it's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with crying. And you shouldn't cry. You should cry. I don't care if you're a man, woman, child. I don't give a crap who you are. You need to cry. You need to release those emotions. You need to feel those emotions. And there's no shame in crying. Right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just that the upset and the hurt was really interfering with my day-to-day life and affecting me. So I got my stuff together. I went outside and I made a decision. I pretty much got to the acceptance part just by a decision. I was like, look, Pop, I love you. I miss you. Crazy. I miss you. It's sad, but I can't keep feeling like this. I accept that you're gone. And from that moment forward, all I've done is thought about how much I loved him, how funny he was. I've just thought about the good times and I've thought about what he's done for the world, and I just think about he was very cheeky and mischievous, and that's what I think about. So I went through all the grieving processes, all the stages. I felt it all, and then I got to acceptance really, really quickly because it was just, I just wasn't functioning in my life. I found that kind of interesting, but it could have a lot to do with the fact that I've known a lot of people that have passed away and a lot of people that have died, committed suicide, been murdered. Maybe, I've had that much practice that I can get to it now, but, I've experienced a lot of grief with obviously a lot of people committing suicide and stuff like that. And that's a whole nother ballgame. That's a whole nother grieving process. That's, crazy. It's, I felt a lot of anger when people committed suicide. I remember a lot of anger, a lot of depression, a lot of what ifs. A lot of that. Could I helped them? Could have been better? So another post-grieving process that I really want to talk about is when I had my accident. So, like I said, being at the age of 20 years old, full, super athletic, super fit, independent young man at 20, breaking my neck surfing, ending up in a wheelchair, limited to about 30% of my body, only 30% of my body. My arms only work a little bit, right? So being dependent on a wheelchair, and the grieving process for that was huge. It was about 10 years. My grieving process after my accident was about 10 years. And to be honest, for the first year, I was in the denial stage. So if anyone remembers my story, Broke My Neck Surfing Part 1, I talk about for the first 12 months, I was on top of the world, I cheated death, and I was very happy and everything like that. And I honestly believe I was in a denial stage that, this isn't really happening. I'm going to walk again one day, and it was a bit messy. And then after that 12 months, reality hit and I came crashing down and had depression for years and years and years. But one of the biggest stages that I went through for that 10-year period that I can remember the most, I went through a lot of depression. Didn't really feel a lot of anger, but my dad mentioned that I did take a bit of anger out on him, but that was me through my childhood too. Like in my childhood, I don't know why, but I directed my frustration, anger out on him, my poor dad. I'm sorry, Dad. So with my accident, I went through a lot of from the depression stage into the bargaining stage. And for 10 years, I was bargaining. I was praying to God. I was, from bargaining as in like, God, like, please make me walk, like fully get up and walk. And then I'd be like, look, if I can't get up and walk, maybe if, I just had, one leg and I just had to hop around on one leg, like that way I could at least walk a bit. And it was crazy. Like the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the roller coaster of the grieving process with my disability was crazy. Like, and took forever. I honestly thought there was something wrong with me for going through that grieving period for so long. Like, I've met people that are stuck in the anger stage, and this is okay, folks. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, anything like that. It's different for everyone. I respect and everything like that. But, I've just met people that are stuck in the anger stage for years and years and years and years. I've met people that are stuck in the depression stage for years and years and years. And I've met people that have gone from fully physically able within 12 months into the acceptance stage where they're just like totally functioning, living their life, working, traveling. It's crazy. Like, and I would compare myself, to some of these people that 12 months later we were fully functioning, happy, doing really, really well. To me, for 10 years, just really struggling, not coping and just hating life. Like, yeah, that was hard. Like really, really hard. So, but eventually I got there. And like I said, I don't accept the fact that I can't walk. I just learn to live with it and I get on with it and just do my best. That's all I can do. So yeah, it's very interesting, folks. So, obviously I've been through the grieving process through losing a job. What's some other areas? Even just having like an idea in your head. You might have grew up with an idea in your head that, just an idea, or a dream. Like I've been through the grieving process, from not reaching a goal through a business that I had. And, I had this business for 5 years. 5 years. And I had this goal, this expectation that I was going to achieve, and I didn't achieve it through that business. And I went through the grieving process, like, for at least a year, I reckon. So we're all going to experience it, folks. We're going to experience the grieving process, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. And you experience it, in different circumstances in your life, not just death, the death of a loved one or anything like that. So I really hope this information helps someone out there. If you're struggling, please get professional help. I highly recommend it. It helped me. And that's it from me, folks. So if you see value in what I do, please subscribe. And if you want to pay it forward, please share. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I've got lots more videos coming out soon. Thank you very much.